I'm Paola Harris, Paola Leopizzi Harris. I'm an Italian photojournalist researcher. I worked with Dr. J. Allen Hynek from 1980 to 1986. Very nuts and bolts person, interviewed people from all over the world. I am probably most well known for my relationship and bringing Colonel Philip Corso to Europe, writing the preface to his book in Italian, and being with the former defense minister, Paul Hellyer, and working with the military, with leaders, with people like Dr. Edgar Mitchell, and really the nuts and bolts of ufology. I've taken another road right now and expanded beyond the nuts and bolts to see why what's happening is happening. And I have entered the field of consciousness raising and am doing conferences now with Starworks USA, my company in Laughlin, Nevada. The extraterrestrial component to all of this is very complex. And after 40 years, the more questions I have, the more complex it becomes. I have more questions. So what I've actually done, I can name a few cases which will help, because I don't want to put everything into reptilian, Nordic, and gray. It's so ignorant to do it that way. I did the Charles Hall case. They were tall, white beings who had their children with them at the Indian Springs facility at Area 51 in 1965. So there's one race. Charles believes they come from Arcturus. I have talked to Billy Mayer, and I've done the Billy Meyer case in Switzerland in person. I mean, all this stuff I do in person. Those were probably Pleiadians, like they said they were. Right now in Latin America, I am dealing with the Latin American contactees, Sixto Paz Wells, Enrique Villanueva, Ricardo Gonzalez, and now Roberto de la Gala de la Vega. And he basically, these people see Apuians, or people from Apu, and Apu is in the constellation of Alpha Centauri. It's 4 light years away. So it's very difficult. I'm also doing Piero Zanfretta's case, Gian Piero Zanfretta, Pier Fortunato Zanfretta in Italy. And he sees these 15-foot tall scaly people who are not reptilian. And he has had contact for 27 years with the police, the carabinieri involved in everything. And you can't put them in a box. They look different. The only thing I can say to wrap this up, there are different races observing this planet, all different sizes and shapes. Some of them look human. Some of them are the EB, or the extraterrestrial biological entity, which is a clone which flies the ships, that people call the Greys. And what our mistake is that we shove them all in one basket. And we do not do intense research to see that we are visited by many, many different races. And some of them are interdimensional. They're not even interplanetary. No. All I can say about that is that watching Hollywood, and I teach a course about Hollywood, what's interesting is that if this planet were to completely disappear and be destroyed, there would be nothing left of us. So let's look at the idea of DNA harvesting as a possible reseeding of planet Earth, with maybe another group of people or beings. I can't make opinions about things. I have to get direct information. You know, people talk about disclosure. It seems to be so important that the government does it. Well, guess what? It's already done. Disclosure has happened. Anybody that bothers to study this like an academic subject and studies all the archive of work starting from before 1945 and does it all. And I'm a teacher, so I'm going to do that, because I couldn't give anybody an A on a research paper if they're just studying their own stuff. Anybody that studies it, and not only studies it, is not an American phenomenon, it is a universal phenomenon. So that studies it in other countries knows that you don't need it, it's there. Disclosure has happened. They've appeared to people. Ships have appeared overhead. There's been paranormal activities. what I want to stress is one thing. This is no game. This is not entertainment. And anybody who's here is either watching or wants us to become much more grown up and more evolved than we are. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at our society today and see that we need that. It's not just the Vatican and the Catholic churches. We are built on institutions. This is all institutionalized. Somebody came out and said, you're a wonderful bunch of divine people. Well, we have to control you, so we're going to have to put you in these boxes. So it's going to affect not only the Catholic Church. That isn't the only religion on earth. It's going to affect our thinking and our living. And so then you can't control the masses. This is a planet that has individual consciousness and individual goals. There are planets that have a common goal and a common consciousness where they do something that is good for everybody, which is basically the Christian message, be your brother's keeper, don't do to somebody else what you don't do to me. That was very simple, Christ said. I mean, if everybody did that, we'd have no problems. So I think that in my next incarnation, I would rather go to a planet that has a collective consciousness so we don't have this mess. And we have a mess. The Vatican has its different compartments, not only its Secret Service, the Opus Dei, the Hermetics, all that. They know everything because a lot of what happened in the past that has been interpreted religiously, like the Fatima apparitions, are not what they were. If you go originally to there's a book written about this. I think it's Joaquim Fernandez. Those little kids saw a woman that had the Michelin Man type cape around her. She was a woman. She was a woman. We don't know what woman she was. And what it is they are so interested, they have their own people. And they were afraid we would have disclosure in 2009. So then they shove Funes up there, who's an Argentinian priest, trying to lay the groundwork. So if something happens, they're already in position. And he said, the ETs are our brothers and sisters. He didn't say they're little gray things running around. He didn't say that. They said they're our brothers and sisters. He said and they went into dogma. They were not born with original sin, which really shocked me. And that they want to do more study on them. And then another priest came out and said we can baptize them, but I don't know why you'd baptize them if they don't have original sin. I think they're afraid, like all the big structures, that this is not in our control. All you need is a scenario like Childhood's End with UFOs over every major airport in the world at the same time, and you can't control that. And you better get ready to say something. That's in Childhood's End, by the way, Arthur C. Clarke. And the overlords had decided to go over all the airports. Now, have we had UFOs over airports? Yes. Beijing had to close down the airport 5 times last year because of UFOs. Do you hear about that? No. We're hearing about little abduction, little beings running around and people. We don't hear about the real history. Turkey has all kinds. Turkey had a situation where there was a meteor coming down and a UFO went and split the meteor so that it would not hurt the earth. Over the planet, they have tried to not interfere, but try to give us more time. I mean, we have a photo of a UFO over Chernobyl that is taking up all the radiation. They're like saying, hey, you guys, you're a bunch of kids. We're not going to give you too much more time, but you get together right now, or you cause your own doom. I really believe that from the people I've talked to, first of all, I know the Mussolini, and if you want to go back to their origins, Hitler had craft and bodies. So they're going to, you don't throw them in the garbage. You're not going to throw them in the trash. You're going to research how these bodies look so beautiful. You know, they had some, human looking beings. And so all the material that deals with Hitler, the Thule Society, Mussolini, we had the Mussolini files too, because we had a crash in northern Italy is real. The fact that we had the German scientists come is real. I mean, they already knew it, so we didn't have to start from ground zero. What gets really tricky is all of the whistleblowing after that, because for me, Gary McKinnon, who was risked his whole entire life and career because they wanted to extradite him here, is a whistleblower. I'm not sure I think everybody has a grain of truth in what they're saying in the secret space program, but my research has military men whose fathers worked on a deep space platform in the 1950s, and that's in my book. And then talking to Ingo Swann about remote viewing on the moon, working with Richard Hoagland for many years on structures on Mars. I think we're on Mars. But I'm not sure that all those people that know this, there's a whole bunch of secrecy that is not necessarily going to come out in the mythology of today's UFO world, because if it were real, they'd be shut down. And that's just, as a journalist, my opinion. Well, first of all, I'd like to have a bunch of people to talk to about all this. So the only way I can do that is to create a community through Starworks USA and Laughlin, and the conversations we have there with all the new material and the international speakers. Because that makes me feel better, because then we can all be on the same page and we can look at all this new research and not do the same old. And as far as my goals, I really want to go to Peru and go to the places that the Latin contactees in my book had their experiences. I want to see the places. Last year, I went to Chile, to the Atacama Desert, on a meditation with Ricardo Gonzalez. It was absolutely extraordinary. And because we were in a place where there's only the night sky and no pollution, light pollution, we saw all kinds of craft and experience through meditation, all kinds of experiences. I would like to go to Genoa, Italy, and do the Pier Fortunato Zanfretta case. He's been waiting for me to go there. It's a 27-year-old case, but he trusts me to finish it up. I'd like to do that. I have been invited to speak in Oslo, Norway with Veronica Paz-Wells. I've already talked to the people in Norway. I've been there, and I want to know what's going on in Hesdalen. Hesdalen is not a meteorological event. Hesdalen lights have been forever. I mean, maybe the theory is that they're mining something there, but that's another country. So do I have the funds to do this? No. But it's a dream, and I guess you've got to put the dream out before, you got to build a railroad before the train comes.